Hey guys, today is an introduction to the quotient rule. So we're going to spend just some time gradually thinking into what is the quotient rule and why does it make our life a little bit easier. So for starters, I want you to think about 7 divided by 7. What do we know 7 divided by 7 equals? Anything divided by itself equals 1. Let's try another one. -2 divided by -2. Again, anything divided by itself equals 1. Let's try one more. 122 divided by 122. Well, anything divided by itself equals 1. Okay, you're probably thinking this is way too easy. Why are we going back to 5th grade math? Let's try this one. X divided by X. What do you think that's going to be? Well, anything divided by itself equals 1. X divided by itself is going to equal 1. Let's try another. Variable m divided by m. Again, anything divided by itself equals 1. Let's take a look at something a little bit more challenging. Okay, I said I was going to give you something more challenging. So x to the 5th power divided by x to the 3rd. Now, they're not the same, so I know it's not going to equal 1. No idea what to do with this, but I know that anything to the power of 5 just means that I'm taking x and repeating it 5 times with multiplication. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that anything cubed means that I'm going to take it times itself 3 times. I'm going to repeat that 3 times with multiplication. Okay. So now I'm looking at this, because I knew that from evaluating exponents. Anything divided by itself is 1. If I take this apart in pieces, right there, that's an x divided by x, which would be a 1. Right here, that's another x divided by x, which I know is 1. And right here, that's another x divided by x, which I know is 1. What am I left with? 2 x's. How do I write that out? X times x is the same thing as saying x squared. So my final answer would be x squared. Let's try another one. The second problem that I want to do is m to the 9th power divided by m to the 6th power. Since they're not the exact same, I know the answer is not going to be a 1. I'm going to have to work this out a little bit. I know that when I evaluate or expand exponents, this is going to be m repeated 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is going to be m repeated 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got it all set up. Yes, that was kind of more work than I wanted to do, and it is easy to make a mistake on drawing the wrong amount of m's. Let's take a look at what we have. I know that m divided by m, anything divided by itself is 1. M divided by m, there's another 1. M divided by m, there's another 1. Another 1. Another 1. And another 1. So what do I have left over? M times m times m. I don't want to leave my answer that way. I want to simplify that down. I can write it with an exponent. My answer is m cubed. So what do we notice is happening in these problems? Before, we had x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd, and we got x squared. Now we have m to the 9th divided by m to the 6th, and we got m cubed. What do you notice about the answer? What I hope you notice is that 9 minus 6 gives me 3. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. Let's take a look at another example. So here's what the quotient rule states. When you divide like variables, you subtract their exponents. So when we did the product rule, we were multiplying and adding the exponents. With the quotient rule, we are dividing and we are subtracting the exponents. So complete opposite. So now that we know we're going to subtract the exponents, I no longer have to write out r times r times r times r and just keep going, because frankly, that's just annoying and it takes up so much room on my paper. So instead, I'm going to use the quotient rule. I notice that r and r are like variables. So I can use the quotient rule and I can subtract their exponents. So I'm going to keep an r, keep my like variable. I'm going to say 7 minus 2. The top minus the bottom. And 7 minus 2 is 5, so my final answer is r to the 5th power. So remember, write this down. When you're dividing like variables, you are subtracting the exponents. I just want to touch on one more thing that you might see either on different computer programs like IXL or in your textbook. And that's when instead of a variable, you have the same base. You have the same number. So remember, any number that has an exponent, we can call that a base. It's basing that exponent. So I have 6 to the 12th power divided by 6 to the 5th power. Instead of calculating out some huge number and then doing the division, since they are both a 6, we can use the quotient rule and we can say that this is going to be 6 to the 12 minus 5. And then we can simplify that down to 6 to 7 as the exponent. So anytime you have the same variable or you have the same number, the same base, don't extend that. Please use the quotient rule. So that was the quotient rule. There you have the basics, how we found the quotient rule. We understood the pattern that was happening. Now I hope that you can take this information and use it so that you can simplify expressions a lot quicker than writing them all out. Good luck.